Good morning, everyone, and happy Thursday morning to you. I appreciate you being with me. My name is Don K. Preston. I am the president of Preterist Research Institute of Ardmore, Oklahoma, and we are continuing our examination of the Olivet Discourse. We are spending time, necessary time, to understanding what it was that the disciples asked about. Here is Jesus. He predicted the utter destruction of the temple. Do you not see all of these things? Time is coming in which not one stone shall be left standing on top of another. The disciples immediately reacted and said, when shall these things be? What shall be the sign of your coming and the end of the age? 99.9% of all commentators, and by the way, there have been some really incredible, notable exceptions to that. All right. Adam Clark said the disciples were not asking about the end of time or the end of earth. They were asking about the end of the Old Covenant age. In more modern times, N.T. Wright says the disciples were not asking about the end of the time-space continuum at all. And I could multiply quotes of really, really great scholars down through time who have recognized the disciples were not at all asking about the end of time. Now, it is widely assumed, 99.9% still, of the commentators, the disciples were asking in reality about the end of the current age. I want you to think about that for a moment. What is the current age? Well, it's the Christian age. It is the new covenant age. Now, I want to share with you some thoughts, some facts that are easily documented. I document them, for instance, in my book, The Last Days Identified. I document this likewise in my book on 2 Peter 3, The Elements Shall Melt with Fervent Heat, and other works. The point of fact is this. In the Jewish eschatological narrative, the Jews believed in two overarching ages. Now, did they believe that there were subsets of that? Yes, they did. There was the time of Abraham, which was before the Mosaic Law. But they well understood and they taught there are two overarching ages. There was what they call, quote, this age and the age to come. The age to come is something they call the Ha'olam Haba. That's point number one, two ages. And by the way, if you want some scholarly documentation of this, all you got to do is find a copy of Emil Schurer's The Life and Times of Jesus Christ the Messiah, or any number of other, scholarly sources that could be cited. And if you want some of those sources, contact me. I'll be glad to share some. Anyway, point number one, the Jews believed in two overarching ages. This age, the age to come. Point number two is where it starts getting really, really critical. This age was the age of Moses and the law. The age to come was the age of the Messiah, the kingdom, and the new covenant. Do you see a train coming? Point number three. The Jews believed, and again, this is a broad outline of what ancient Jews believed. Were there exceptions to this? Well, probably so. But the broad outline of Jewish consensus was, point number three, they believed and agreed. As Dale Allison points out, the end of the ages has come. Really great little book in many ways, by the way. Anyway, they believed that the age of Moses was supposed to end. Always supposed to end. Now, were there some ancient rabbis who denied that? Yes, there were. I'm not denying that. But once again, the consensus was the age of Moses was to end. the age of Messiah, the age of the new covenant. You know, it's staggering when people get so desperate in their attempts to refute covenant eschatology that they actually go on record on Facebook, as Sam Frost has done recently, denying that there is such a thing as the new covenant age. Really? Yet he believes that there is the end of the current age. Well, what covenant is the covenant of this current age? It's the gospel, isn't it? Therefore, there is, and we are living in the new covenant age. You know, the desperation of such claims is just really off the charts. But do you catch the power of that little threefold point? The Jews believed in two ages. This age, the age to come. This age was the age of Moses and the law. The age to come was the age of Messiah and the new covenant. This age, the age of Moses and the law, was supposed to end. The age of Messiah, the kingdom, and the new covenant would never end. Now let me ask you a question. I hope you will consider this carefully. As Jesus has just left the temple, sitting on the Mount of Olives, the disciples have shown him the size and the beauty of what? Of a Christian church building? No. They've shown him the size, the beauty, the glory of that temple. And Jesus had said, "Do you not see all of these things? The time is coming in which not one stone shall be left standing here on top of another." Was he talking about the destruction of the church? Which, you know, doesn't have literal physical stones. When Jesus predicted the destruction of the temple, the disciples were automatically thinking of the end of the age. So ask yourself the question, what age did that temple represent and symbolize? You catch the power of that? Folks, listen. That Jerusalem temple did not in any way whatsoever represent or symbolize the current Christian age. No connection whatsoever. How could the disciples, why would the disciples, when Jesus predicted the destruction of that temple which symbolized only one covenant, the Mosaic covenant and the Mosaic age, upon what basis do we say that the disciples automatically thought about the end of the Christian age which the temple did not represent? That is realistically not even approaching anything logical. So, if the disciples believed that the Mosaic age was supposed to end, which is the consensus view of that time, so if the disciples knew and believed that the Mosaic age was supposed to end, and Jesus just predicted the destruction of the temple which represented and symbolized that age, the Mosaic age, then what age do you suppose they had in mind when they said, what shall be the sign of the end of the age? You know what age they were talking about. You know what age the temple represented. You know that the temple did not represent the Christian age in any way, shape, form, or fashion. I've written a couple of books that address this issue quite in depth. One is The Last Days Identified. The other is Into All the World Then Comes the End. In both of these books, and approaching it from different perspectives with additional information in each book, I address the issue of the end of the age, the last days and the end of the age. Now, if you purchase these books separately, it would cost you right at $34, $33.80 some cents. Okay? For the rest of this month, and I didn't give my webmaster a heads up on this, but I will. But for the rest of February, you can order both books, February 2019 special. Now, unfortunately, this does not apply to any overseas, out of the continental U.S. Orders. I'm sorry, I just can't do it. But if you order both books, say I want the February 2-book special, Into All the World Then Comes the End and The Last Days Identified, okay? You order them, your total cost, total delivered cost, $25. Okay? That will save you a good bit of money. All right? So go to my website. You can just send me the money via PayPal. Go to my website. Send me an email. Say, Don, I want the February 2-book special. My website, Alan Morton, bless his heart, does an absolutely fantastic job on my websites. Send him a thank you note, by the way, for the great job he does, because I certainly appreciate it. Anyway, and he'll put up a banner where all you have to do is click on it for the February 2019 2-book special, $25 post-paid. Take advantage of it. You'll be glad you did. Now, okay, tomorrow we're getting ready to close out our series. We're only going to do 2 more videos in my Debunking Preterism Review and Refutation of Brock Hollett's book, Debunking Preterism. Don't forget to be with me tomorrow, so I'll see you on the flip side.